Hey, Tiny T Prepper here, and what I'm doing is grouting now the tile, and this is just like what we did in the bathroom. So on that bathroom whirlpool tub installation, I'll show some of that. I got a little bit to do in there from the tile and the cubby holes, but thought it'd be easier here on a flat surface to show you what I'm doing. And the things you'll need, one, well, this is the way I do it, especially for on a vertical wall, it seems to work pretty good. So I use just a regular putty knife here. I put a little bit on, and probably better if I'd use my mud tray for this, but I'm working out of the bucket, so a little bit on cleanup. And I'd have been better off to tape and paper this around, but I didn't have any paper, and I didn't want to make a trip to the store. You know, that's another hour and a half before I get back and get started. So I just been using cardboard here up close, and I clean up as I go along, which is a little bit more mess, but it works. So it saves me an hour and a half. I'll be done by the time I would have got back. So anyway, I just take this and just press it into the joints between. You see on that decorative, there's quite a few joints, and it really pops out those individual tiles when you get this white mud in there to separate them, or whatever color you decide to use on yours. We decided to go with white. We thought that showed out that decorative a little bit more, but anyway, this is what you do. You just spread this on, and notice I ain't caulking the bottom. I'm not grouting the top or the bottom. Those will be caulked with a white tub and tile caulk. And let me get that. Okay, so that's the first process to do that. Then you got to have what they call a sponge trowel. It's got a soft back on it. And what you do is you go over this, get over here with a little bit more light, and this here, you just take and rub across, and it cleans off that surface. And go the other way so I don't get as much on behind the sink here. It's been easier to do if I hadn't already done the sink, but oh well, it is what it is. You can work around it. You might decide to tile around the existing sink, and like I said, it'd probably been easier if I'd have took that off. Now, if you have the grout coming up or lifting up from between the tiles when you're driving across, if it's getting a little bit dry, go to a 45-degree angle, and that'll make it so it doesn't do that as much as you can. But sometimes you can't help it, and you have to go with it. Some comes out, you just go back and put it back in. Okay, so that's basically the process there to getting the, and you're not done when you do that. I'll show you here what I mean. Now notice I'm not holding this trowel flat either. I got this at a 45-degree angle. I forgot to mention that. I'm doing that out of habit. But you don't lay this flat. You lay it up at a 45 when you go across those there. And if you go at a 45-degree this way, that's better yet. But if you have to, you go straight. So, not the end of the world if you can't. Now, what I do, and I don't know if everybody does this, but a lot of times they come back later and do this. I come back with just a moist cloth right after I do that, and I take that surface stuff off. And again, here I try to work crossways of the joints as much as possible. What I found, this makes the cleanup on this a lot easier. You got to be careful not to get this too wet and not to take any of the mud out of the joint there. But just what little I've been doing here, I found this is a boughten grout premix. I hadn't used it before, and what I found is it doesn't seem to set up as much, but boy, it does and it doesn't. It's not hard, but when I went to wipe this off with the rag, I'd done this whole side down along here, and I did the rubber trowel across it, of course, the sponge trowel, did that, and then I went back, you know, probably 20, 30 minutes later, I went back to go do that, maybe not quite that long, probably about 15, 20 minutes, this goes pretty quick, and I could hardly get that off the surface, so I'm going here just, 2-3 foot, whatever I do before I move my tools. And that seemed to work out pretty good then. I get that off the surface, and then once I get that off the surface like that, then that's my wet one. Then I got a dry towel here. I come back and I wipe the water off, And that kind of really cleans up the surface to that finished look there. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come back hours later, and then I don't know how they get it off, but they must have to scrub quite a bit, because they get a lot more off with their trowels than I do. But I've always done this even on my floor tile and had really good luck with it. And don't have my Grout is off the surface of the tile and have anything to scrape off there or anything, and it seems to work real well for me. So anyway, I got to hurry and go on this. This is stuff that's time sensitive, so I'm working against the clock and the drying times here. So anyway, this is end of the tile with the grouting. What you got to do, I guess I will show you a little bit more in the cubby holes in there. So I do have a little bit of that, and that's got a little bit of light in there maybe, and maybe we can see that good too, but it really makes that stand out. So anyway, be back here a little bit later.